Most gardeners are taught that composting is simple pile scraps. Wait long enough, and soil health will follow. But in reality, traditional composting fails far more often than it succeeds, especially in small gardens, raised beds, and herb plots. Piles dry out, go anaerobic, attract pests, or stall completely. Even when compost looks finished, it often lacks the biological activity needed to truly improve soil. The issue isn't effort, it's biology. Fermenting kitchen scraps changes the process entirely. Instead of relying on slow, unpredictable decay, fermentation stabilizes organic material first, preserving nutrients and feeding soil microbes in a controlled way. This is how scraps stop being waste and start becoming black gold faster, cleaner, and more reliably. Why traditional composting breaks down in real gardens. Composting depends on balance between carbon, nitrogen, moisture, oxygen, and temperature. Miss any one of those and the system collapses. Most home compost piles never reach consistent heat, which means weed seeds survive, pathogens linger, and decomposition stalls. Nutrients volatilize into the air or leach away before plants ever benefit. Worse, partially decomposed compost added to soil continues breaking down underground. This process, well, it actually steals nitrogen from plants, disrupts microbial balance, and causes uneven growth. Gardeners think they're improving soil, but they're often just relocating the problem. So, what fermentation does differently at the biological level is quite interesting. Fermentation is not decay. It's preservation through controlled microbial activity. Instead of oxygen-loving decomposers consuming organic matter aggressively, lactic acid bacteria dominate the process. These bacteria, you see, lower pH slightly, suppress rot-causing organisms, and lock nutrients into stable forms. Fermented scraps do not heat up, smell foul, or attract pests. They break down gently after being added to soil, feeding microbes instead of overwhelming them. This creates a slow, steady nutrient release that aligns with how roots actually absorb food. So why do fermented scraps build soil faster and not just differently? Well, speed in soil building doesn't mean we're forcing growth. Instead, it means we're actually reducing losses. You see, with traditional composting, we often lose nitrogen as gas, and minerals can easily wash away with the rain. Fermentation, on the other hand, keeps those nutrients intact until soil life is ready to process them. When fermented material enters the soil, microbes immediately get to work converting it into humus, not just leaving it as raw decay. This process improves soil structure, water retention, and nutrient cycling within just a few weeks, rather than taking entire seasons. The soil itself becomes darker, more crumbly, and much more biologically active, and it does all this without those boom and bust cycles that unfinished compost can cause. Now let's talk about why fermentation works especially well in small and gentle gardens. Herbs, greens, and perennial beds are actually the most vulnerable to aggressive composting mistakes. These plants really do prefer stable soil, not sudden nutrient spikes. Fermented scraps release nutrients gradually and help maintain a balance between fungi and bacteria, rather than letting one group take over. This makes fermentation ideal for raised beds, containers, and long-term plots where soil disturbance is minimal. Instead of turning piles and hauling compost, gardeners can build fertility in place, feeding the soil food web directly. Why smell tells you everything you need to know. Healthy fermentation smells mildly sour, not rotten. This scent indicates lactic acid dominance, which protects nutrients and suppresses harmful microbes. Traditional compost piles often smell bad because anaerobic decay has taken over. That smell is lost fertility. Fermented scraps smell alive, not broken down. That difference matters when material enters the soil. So why don't fermented scraps actually replace compost, but, can really outperform it when used correctly? Well, this isn't meant to be an argument against compost at all. Rather, it's an argument against using compost that's incomplete. Fermentation actually prepares organic matter so that soil organisms can finish the job much more efficiently. In many gardens, fermented scraps end up outperforming compost simply because they arrive biologically ready instead of, well, half-finished. The end result isn't just about faster plant growth, but also about stronger roots, improved soil aggregation, and honestly, much better moisture management. Plants become more resilient because the soil beneath them is, stable. So, why does this method actually create real black gold? Well, black gold isn't just some dark material, it's living humus formed by, microbial collaboration. Fermented scraps feed that process directly. Instead of burning through organic matter, the soil actually converts it into long-term fertility. That's exactly why gardens using fermentation improve each season. Without, escalating inputs, the soil just begins to regulate itself. Why does composting the wrong way keep gardeners stuck? Well, many gardeners keep composting year after year without seeing real improvement simply because the biology never stabilizes. Fermentation, though, breaks that cycle. It respects how microbes work instead of fighting them. When scraps are fermented before they touch the soil, nutrients stay put, microbes thrive, and soil transforms so much faster without force. If composting has felt like more work than reward, honestly, this is why. The fix isn't doing more. It's just letting biology lead.